Hey everybody. It is Wednesday, September 18th. I'm Sarah Friels. I was protesting today, so I kind of just want to debrief and talk about it as I normally do. But I'm definitely going to do it more frequently. So I was in Moscow, Idaho, and there was this one woman. She's in her early 20s, probably. She looked very well put together, very entitled. She said to me yesterday, I was outside this building. I don't know whether if it was retail or what it was, or if it was residential. But I've seen her before, and yesterday she told me basically, I don't know whether she was trying to tell me that I was so overweight that I was blocking the street and blocking the sidewalk, and she's like, "Thanks for blocking the sidewalk, by the way." And I wasn't. There was like plenty of room behind me, plenty of room in front of me. I never block it because if you block all of it, then police have the reason to come and mess with you. So I just want to get out and say what I want to say for the day, whether it's support for Julian Assange or free speech or speaking against war or whatever. So yesterday she took her picture of me. She made a comment saying that I shouldn't be on the sidewalk, that I didn't have the right to be out there. And then today I asked her again, I filmed it this time. I'm not going to publish it because I'm not going to try and humiliate her. But it did bring up an important subject that I want to talk about. Let me get into it. First, she said, basically, she comes up to me and she says whatever she wants to say to me. But if I respond, she doesn't like it. She acted like that wasn't allowed. Like I wasn't supposed to be out there in her mind. And so I said, what makes you so entitled that you think that you have the right to tell other people that they don't have free speech? What makes you so fucking special? I didn't say the last part, but and I was recording it, and she goes, "You're not allowed to talk to me. You're not allowed to talk to people that don't want to talk to you." And she was recording me, and I was like, "That's fine, I'm recording you too." And she goes, "I'm going to call the police because this is not peaceful protesting. Peaceful protesting is not talking to people who don't want to talk to you." And when I asked her, I said, "What makes you so fucking entitled that you can tell people that they don't have the right to free speech?" And she goes, I'm voting for Bernie Sanders." And I was like, "Well, that fucking says a lot. This is a lot about you." Peaceful protesting. Peaceful means nonviolent. It does not mean that everyone reading the information being passed out or the information on the posters is going to make them comfortable. If a protest is effective, it will most certainly make at least one person uncomfortable at any given point in time, okay? And that especially includes me. I am uncomfortable when I'm out there. It is uncomfortable to get flipped off. It is uncomfortable to be cussed out. It is uncomfortable to be addressed, disrespectfully from people who think that I don't have the right to be out there saying what I want, and it makes it so much harder because America, for so long, we have thought so negatively about protesters. Like, it's been a while since I think this country has valued any type of protesting. We've gotten to the point where we don't like it. I mean, personally, me, I love it. I love being out there. I love having, saying what I want to say when I want to say it, because I'm feeling that grip around my throat. The more that I see Julian Assange being persecuted and slandered, and his health is deteriorating. Manning is in jail as well, and Julian's in jail indefinitely, waiting for the U.S. to come over and persecute him. So we're losing time, people. And there's these delicate voter snowflakes, for lack of a better word, because I don't want to be associated with Trump supporters. But Americans are so, some of us are so fucking delicate that they think that other people don't have the right to free speech, or they don't understand what peaceful protesting actually means. It means nonviolence. It means being uncomfortable. It means making other people uncomfortable enough for them to question whatever the topic is. Okay, that's why sometimes I have cuss words on my posters so I don't get their attention, or I use humor, or I make it very bold and do colors, and I put effort into my signs, whether it's just the thought of writing the thing that's going to make get their attention. It's going to make you uncomfortable. Peaceful protest does not mean that somebody won't be offended by it. Okay? Peaceful protest does not mean that you don't talk to people just because they don't like what you're saying, or they don't like you personally, or they have something against you. It doesn't mean that you have to zip your mouth when people are bigots, or when people, so say if someone drives by and calls me a name, peaceful protest does not mean that I'm not allowed to respond to them. If you say something to a peaceful protester, it doesn't make them unpeaceful just to respond to you. So this girl, she's a Bernie supporter, Bernie voter, so a Democratic voter, okay? It's no different than a Hillary Clinton voter. Democratic voter who doesn't believe in free speech, who literally told me she was going to call the police on me. We only talked for, I'd say, less than 30 seconds. Like, every interaction we've had to this point has been less than a minute. Normally it starts with her taking a photo of me, or her saying, thanks for blocking the sidewalk, or whatever, saying some bullshit. She thinks that responding to her all of a sudden makes me unpeaceful. I even have a sign for this that says we need to become more tolerant of taking offense. And definitely getting out there and protesting has raised my tolerance. I take a lot of verbal abuse, and that's part of it. Okay, I get it. It's part of it. People are gonna, if they're not on that level where you're at of education wise, of research wise, if they just read what's on CNN or whatever, which clearly, if you don't know what peaceful protesting means, don't dictate to other people the definition of it. But it just goes to show that Bernie supporters, they are what their leadership, they are who they follow. Bernie Sanders is 100% anti-protest. I've read lots of statements by Bernie where he literally tells his followers to not protest Clinton, not protest the establishment. Bernie Sanders, he, in 2016, when I supported Bernie, his campaign and people who supported him promoted that picture of him like being held off, by the police, doing some civil rights protests. So he got this persona of being an activist. Bernie Sanders is not an activist. Bernie Sanders is a capitalist shill and a fraud and a manipulator. And he's convinced his base, like this woman I talked to today, that peaceful protesting means not making people uncomfortable, not questioning the narrative. I don't understand. It's so funny to me because she thinks that she's doing the right thing by promoting Bernie and voting for Bernie, and it literally does nothing. And so when she stands in the way, hold on, Halsey was at daycare while I was protesting, so she's like jumping on me. She's going out of her way to discourage dissent. And I was frustrated because at the time, she basically was telling me that she's going to call the police on me because I was responding to her. And she didn't think that was very peaceful of me to be peaceful. It was not peaceful, apparently, to respond back. But she's got a rude awakening because I've got a lot of anti-Bernie content that proves that Bernie is a fraud. So I'm going to go back out there again. I was out yesterday, came back out today, and she's only encouraging me to come back and reevaluate my strategy and maybe even try and talk to her again. I'm not afraid of her. I know what I'm talking about. I've read the Podesta emails. I've read a lot of information about Bernie that if she had, maybe she would question herself. Maybe not, probably not, because she's so entitled that she thinks that nobody can offer her any other point of view that helps her situation. She's really no different than any of the Trump supporters or the military people that drive by me that flip me off. Today I had a military guy flip me off. And I think I just had a love not hate sign, and they flipped me off for that. We just need to show people opposition to corruption, and there's a lot of people who feel an emotional attachment to corrupt people and corrupt parties and entities, and anything that we can do to get out there to correct the narrative is good. And it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to I know some people may probably disagree with me, but I don't like confronting people. I don't like disagreements with people. I want people to understand where I'm coming from, but that's not realistic to expect that. It's not realistic to expect that people are going to immediately understand where I'm coming from. A lot of times, it'll take people seeing me out there 4 or 5 times before they even understand that I'm not a Trump supporter or whatever, or a Democratic supporter. There's so many people in my town, and I believe this to be nationwide, where there is either left or right, mentality, and nobody else exists. So anything that we can do, whether it's online or in person, to show that there is more sides of the spectrum than left versus right. And it's going to take several times, before it even starts clicking with them. I mean, I'd say I got involved in politics in 2015, and by the 2016 primaries is when I officially said, fuck the system, where I understood that this system can't be reformed. It took me about 1.5 years. And so that I keep that in mind when I'm speaking to people, because I say, okay, it's going to take it could take at least 1.5 years to wake people up, like best case scenario, because that's what it took me. So, this girl, she may hate that I go out there and protest outside of that building. She may hate to see me all the time. She may take pictures and call the police. I mean, I don't care. I have every right to be out there. You guys have every right to be out on the street corner, say whatever you want to put on a poster, and you do it. And if the police come up and say, hey, can we search your stuff? You say no. If they ask you, hey, can we ask you questions? You say, no, I do not answer questions. No, don't let them go through your stuff. And if you can, record any interaction with other people. If you feel unsafe, or if you feel like they're bullshitting, because this girl was definitely bullshitting today, telling me that I couldn't be out there. She just wants to keep voting. She wants to be comfortable, and I'm not here to make anybody comfortable. I'm not fucking comfortable. And I think that if you are living in the U.S. right now and you're comfortable, then you're delusional. And you're entitled. You're delusional and entitled. You quit. Come on. She's obsessive today. She doesn't like being uncomfortable. You tell him, Hussy. So, I think I may target it a little bit and hyper focus my strategy if I go out there and protest again, which I'm sure I will, because I like that street corner. It's comfortable. There's lots of room. And I'll bring my chair too, and I don't care. Like, at first I was worried that people would think that I was lazy for bringing a chair, but it got to the point where I was like in a lot of pain every night when I go home. Or if I didn't bring my chair and I was out there for several hours, my legs will start to go numb, because I do have a spinal issue. So I don't care anymore, I don't care what people think about me. I've been spit on, I've been cussed at, I've been, verbally abused. And you know what? If people are offended by the truth so much that they're willing to call the police on me, let them. And I'm going to record it. And then I'll use it to educate other people online about. She's falling asleep. She's happy. Picked her up from the daycare, and she was so happy she was squealing. Now she's tired. But overall, it was really good. I had my Julian Assange posters. I had my Love Not Hate. And the Love Not Hate actually got a lot of fingers flipping me off. People, usually, it was men. It was all middle-aged men. Some children called me the N-word and then said something negative about Obama. I guess they thought I supported Obama. I don't know why. It just goes to show you that Americans don't really immediately think. When they see something, they just say, the first thing that comes to their brain, and it's usually not very educated. So I try not to be offended by that. What really just gets on my nerves is when people tell me that I don't have the right to speak out, because that's other people are going to see that, and all they're doing is trying to discourage dissent. They think that if they vote, that's all we have to do as Americans, and that's why we have a government that we have right now, is because people, they don't have the guts or the courage or the mental capacity to think outside the mainstream narrative. So I'm going to do like Halsey, and I'm going to go relax and take off the vest and go chill and ice my back. And I love her so much. But overall, it was a very good protest. I'm glad I did make her upset. I'm glad I maybe made her question herself. Maybe not. It may take 6 or 7 more times before she even looks at anything that I have to give her. I might even go back out tomorrow. We'll see. But overall, it was good. Had lots of good support for Julian Assange. Planted some seeds, and that's, it's not going to be comfortable. So get that out of your heads right now. Your comfort's not guaranteed. And peaceful protesting means making people uncomfortable. It's giving them a point of view that's different from what they already believe. For the most part, I'd say about, from my experience of the past year, from protesting in Moscow, Idaho, I'd say about 60%. I'd say about 60% of the interactions I've had with people have been positive, and about 40% have been negative. So that gives me an idea of how many people we need to wake up, at least if anything, just in that town alone. I know that every town is different. But for the most part, it's been positive. Anyway, so I'm gonna go relax. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. I may make another video tomorrow. I know that I have to, I've got to record the next Become Ungovernable report for the radio station. So I need to do some more research on news for the week. I will talk to you guys later.